Isang mula na mo ron chumena matagni ko ni rongo ni bibo ko matagni ke misa po. Niya na isang mula na sero ko ni sana. Chumena kino na mo ron chumay. Tunasile. Nisang mula oyo Mr. Ben.
Kela po?
Na magkikira ni bibo mataka mo ni chikira mo ron buka may na ono kinadiwa na Bula FM.
This is FBC News. I'm Jackie Spate in this bulletin. 16 villagers of Ra charged for their alleged involvement in forming a breakaway state in the province. 2 men wounded in stabbing incident in Laoka City. A new Fijian trade policy launched by the Prime Minister. But firstly, we apologise for the delay in this bulletin. Leading our bulletin tonight, 16 villagers, including 3 chiefs from Raki, were this afternoon taken into police custody in Laoka over their alleged involvement in forming a breakaway state, namely the Ra Sovereignty Christian State. According to their lawyer, Aman Ravindra Singh, the men have been charged with sedition and communal antagonism. The men were arrested this afternoon and will be held in remand with a special court hearing at the Laoka Magistrates Court tomorrow. ACP Henry Brown has confirmed to FBC News that the charges are being processed on the instructions of the Director of Public Prosecution's Office. 2 men are admitted at the Laoka hospital after they were stabbed this morning. Police say the circumstances surrounding the incident on Tavewa Avenue are still sketchy. The 2 were in a vehicle driven by a 25-year-old who was with a 45-year-old man. An argument broke out where one of the victims, who was sitting in the front seat, assaulted the driver. He then got out of the vehicle and assaulted the 45-year-old who was in the back seat. A scuffle broke out and 2 men aged 44 and 43 years were stabbed. The 45-year-old passenger also received injuries. Investigations are continuing. Government has launched the Fijian Trade Policy Framework in Suva, which has been described as a milestone in the country's development. Launching framework, Prime Minister Vorengem Bainimarama called on stakeholders to work together to take the economy to a much higher level. Akusita Tale has more.
The unveiling of the 10-year framework from this year hopes to strengthen Fiji's trade performance all the way to 2025. The Fijian Trade Policy Framework is a campaign to take the Fijian-made brand globally.
Raise Fiji's voice to call for better and fair access to the global marketplace, to participate more effectively in trade negotiations and fully integrate Fiji into the global trading system. At home, we must continually improve and refine the performance of our manufacturing, agriculture and service sectors.
The Prime Minister is calling for more teamwork between the government and private sectors to market the Fijian-made brand and attract investments.
Put aside petty rivalries and turf wars and focuses on one thing and one thing only, the national economy. I will not tolerate any bureaucratic obstruction to implementing this agenda. We need every arm of government to engage with each other and the private sector to maximize the impact of our export effort.
The overall vision of the trade policy is to develop Fiji into a vibrant, dynamic and internationally competitive economy, serving as the hub of the Pacific.
It provides a single reference point for all stakeholders on Fiji's roadmap towards a modern and all-inclusive development agenda which promotes trade expansion opportunities, industrial growth, domestic and foreign investment opportunities, and general improvement in the business environment for private sector growth.
The framework will have a mid-year review in 2020 to monitor progress, to ensure that the set objectives are achieved during the implementation period. Akusita Talei, FBC News.
The hunt continues for an unknown person who raped a 9-year-old student in Akasi Nausori early this week. The attack on the child has prompted a warning from the government that future similar incidents will not be tolerated.
The ruthless attack of the 9-year-old girl in Nakasi on Tuesday afternoon has compelled the government to ensure the perpetrator is caught.
The victim and her family have been traumatized by this event, and authorities have requested members of the public and the media fraternity to respect their privacy. I'm optimistic that the perpetrator will be apprehended very soon.
The student was attacked and raped on Tuesday afternoon as she was returning to her home after classes. She is currently in a stable condition in hospital. Natuva warns such ruthless acts will be meted ruthless punishment.
The government wants this sort of behavior stopped and will not condone it anymore. Our women and girls are supposed to live in peace and move freely day and night without fear. Any further similar incidents for our women and girls will be dealt with civilly.
Opposition MP William Walker voiced the issue of increasing police presence around the country to help minimize the occurrence of such cases. Natuva told Parliament the incident should give all Fijians time to reflect on our values.
Community leaders, church leaders have to work on this and to try to intervene into the communities and tell them what is supposed to be the norms of Fiji.
Members of Parliament observed 30 seconds of silence today to pray for the child and her family. Eleanor Turangaibiu, FBC News.
The Parliamentary Standing Committee on Justice, Law and Human Rights today called for more time to work on drafting their reports on the Coat of Arms Bill and the National Flag Protection Bill. Committee Chairman Ashnil Sudhakar tabled a motion in Parliament for an extension which was approved unanimously. Sudhakar says the committee had prioritised the Employment Relations Promulgation Amendment Bill report, which was tabled in Parliament yesterday, and this is why members were unable to complete other reports.
In fact, my committee had called public submissions on the National Flag Protection Bill and the Coat of Arms Bill and also the Employment Relations Promulgation Amendment Bill. During the course of the submissions, we realized that there wouldn't be ample time to complete the review of the three pieces of legislation and prepare a report.
The committee report on the Coat of Arms Bill and the National Flag Protection Bill is set to be tabled in Parliament's August sitting. Coming up, motion to review government's exclusive advertising in the Fiji Sun newspaper has been defeated in Parliament.
If you just joined us on the System After Dark, this is a homegrown number courtesy of E3 and Cracker.
Bulla, how's it going? I'm D, your host on the System After Dark, right here on Today FM. Today's hit music. You can catch me weeknights at 7 p.m. That's from Monday to Friday, only on the home of Today's hit music. And don't forget, that's D with you every weeknight on the System After Dark.
A motion to review government's exclusive advertising in the Fiji Sun newspaper has been defeated 27-17 by Parliament. The motion was brought up by Opposition MP Dr. Biman Prasad and was denied by Communications Minister Ayaz Said Qayyum. Eleanor Tarangaivu reports.
60 government ministries, departments, statutory organizations whose advertisements appear mostly on a daily basis in the Fiji Sun.
Opposition MP Dr. Biman Prasad told Parliament this morning government's decision to exclusively advertise with one newspaper, the Fiji Sun, violates the Constitution.
Being denied access to these advertisements, this is unacceptable, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, there is no legitimate reason to deny the Fiji Times and its employees income as well as its readers information.
Dr. Biman told Parliament that the policy to advertise with the Fiji Sun only was adopted by the previous government after it claimed that the Fiji Times newspaper was anti-regime.
Speaker, we now have parliamentary democracy. I can understand the previous government's position on this, but we now are in a democracy. If anything, tenders are called for any service required by government. We are sure that this was never done and it still has not been done.
Government in response says there is no exclusivity to the Fiji Sun, and this is evident in recent publications.
Reserve Bank of Fiji. No, but in the end you didn't. Reserve Bank of Fiji. I've only got a few here, Madam Speaker, where advertisements from government and different agencies have been put in Fiji Times. Vacancy Auditor General, vacancy Fiji Constitutions Commission. All of these advertisements have gone in, even by the Ministry of Finance, Madam Speaker, last Saturday. So there's no exclusivity.
Attorney General Ayaz Said Kayum admitted the directive to advertise only with the Fiji Sun was given a few years back, but says it was given with a reason.
Speaker, we had actually meetings, and a former editor of Fiji Times told me that we are editorially opposed to your government. That's what he told me over a cup of coffee. He told me that we're editorially opposed to your government. Now, if you're going to have editorially a newspaper that's going to actually come out and say that they're opposed to the government, where do you think and how do you think that paper is going to write, for example, on development programs?
Said Kayum also revealed in Parliament that they will be calling for tenders soon on the publication of government advertisements in all mediums of communication. Eleanor Turangaibiu, FBC News.
A motion to review the current domestic flight business model was defeated in Parliament this morning following a lengthy debate. During a vote, 27 MPs voted against the motion, moved by the opposition member Salote Randrondro. Shireen Lata reports.
Opposition member Salote Randrondro says the flight business model needs to be reviewed with a view to reducing flight costs to allow affordable low-cost domestic services for the people. She says currently flight costs to outer and maritime areas are extremely high and beyond the affordability of common people.
Current service provider has a monopoly on the market. Essentially, profitability levels ought to be hitting break-even point or attaining normal profit. Madam Speaker, we must also further note that the fuel prices have significantly gone down, but the relative downward adjustments to airfares has not happened, as should be expected.
In response, Attorney General and Civil Aviation Minister Ayaz Said Kayum said the government is providing subsidies to most of the islands. He adds the subsidy for domestic air has increased by $1.6 million.
The routes that are currently subsidized are trips to Didia, Ngau, Kandavu from this year, Koro, Lakemba, Onailau, Rotuma and Vanumbalavu.
17 MPs voted in favor of the motion and 6 did not vote. Shireen Lata, FBC News.
An opposition motion to streamline the capital gains tax has been defeated in Parliament. NFP's Prem Singh tabled a motion saying the current laws didn't allow people to transfer some assets and property to family members.
Secretary General.
Under the current capital gains tax, there is no levy for transferring a home or company shares between family members, including parents, grandparents and children. Opposition MP Prem Singh argues this should be extended to include other properties such as land and small businesses.
The Capital Gains Tax Budget Amendment Act 11 of 2014 must be reviewed to reflect the policy change announced by the Minister of Finance on the 21st of November 2014. And the Minister of Finance must direct FIRCA to refund all Fijians who transferred any assets for love and affection to be refunded capital gains tax that they were forced to pay for such transfers.
The government argued the capital gains tax already has exemptions which were promised in the 2015 budget.
What he's proposing, Madam Speaker, indirectly, is that any transfer of any assets, so commercial properties, factories, etc., if you transfer from one person to the other, there should be a capital gains tax should be exempt. That's what it fundamentally means. It will undermine the tax revenue basis. What we have said, we are starting off on a slow basis for love and affection. For love and affection, generally, a grandparent is not going to transfer the factory.
Finance Minister Ayaz Said Kayum also adds it would be impossible to refund taxes which were charged based on previous legislation. Singh argues the government hasn't delivered on a promise.
What you said in your budget address as a policy matter, and that to reflect in the law. There is a difference. What you said as a policy matter is not reflected in the law.
The result of the vote.
The motion was defeated by 27 votes to 16. Edwin Nund, FBC News.
Sports now. Here's Jamie with the very latest.
Nakazaki, and good evening. In sports tonight, John McKee confident of the Flying Fijians set pieces, and we'll have the latest from the Pacific Games. This and more coming up.
Gold FM, only the classic hits. Beautiful song from the group Firehouse and When I Look Into Your Eyes. Before that, you heard from Smokey Robinson with One Heartbeat. We'll take a short break and join us in the next hour for more music from Seal. Bulavanaka. I'm DJ Tora. Join me every weekdays, 7 until midnight on the Premium Classics. Right here on Gold FM, only the classic hits.
The Flying Fijians expect the Maori All Blacks to target its set pieces when they go head-to-head tomorrow. The set piece has often been Fiji's main downfall, yet coach John McKee expects a different outcome tomorrow afternoon. Tsale Ndadakadaka has more.
The Flying Fijians forward pack boasts a wealth of talent and power, led by captain Akapusingara. With the injection of former Bulls coach Franz Ludek, Flying Fijians coach John McKee says the national side is on track in overcoming the age-old weakness in the scrums and lineouts.
Set play is going to be big. We've done a lot of work this week on our set play. Building on from last November, and I'm really pleased with the way that the boys have responded in that area. To build on what we've done before, and I think our set play is in better shape than it was last November when we did quite well.
This set-piece resurgence has been aided with the arrival of Ludek in preparation for the World Cup.
Test match rugby, you've got to win the ball, and that's where it all starts. And if you're under pressure in that area, you can do what you like in the rest of the game. It's not going to happen. So we did a lot of work in that area, and also I think around the ruck area. Not just in the game tomorrow, but right through the Rugby World Cup. That's going to be a big area of the game. So we need to be very skilled and efficient in that area.
The Flying Fijians held their captain's run indoors today, with only the goal kickers, wingers and fullback getting a taste of the ground conditions for the clash tomorrow. Talento the Kavak, FBC Sports.
The Fiji Rugby Union held a corporate lunch in Suva today to set the platform for the World Cup in September. Members of Parliament, dignitaries and corporate sponsors filled the conference room at the Grand Pacific Hotel. The event also launched the Flying Fijians kit for the World Cup and an auction to raise funds for the team.
We need to do more and more, and with more. We need to keep punching as hard as we can to maintain our place in the world rugby. So I appeal to all of you who can afford it to dig deeper, tie our own corporate fortunes to our nation's fortunes on the rugby field.
The Rugby World Cup will be held in England in September. Although the Maori All Blacks are raring to take on the Vodafone Flying Fijians, the side took some time out of training today to visit the children's ward at the CWM hospital. Rohit Deo reports.
Smiles on the faces of the small ones as they meet their heroes whom they have been seeing on television until now. One player who makes his debut for the Maori says today's visit is something new for him, which has inspired him more.
This is my first time ever doing stuff like this. It's pretty sad, I guess, seeing little kids like this, with cancer and stuff like that, being sick. It's pretty sad.
Ioane says he is looking forward to the match against the Flying Fijians.
I'm nervous, but I'm looking forward to it. So hopefully the boys are ready, and I'll hopefully be ready by tomorrow. So yeah.
The visit today by the Maoris has increased their fan base, with the kids enjoying every bit of time spent with them.
I used to, they're the best. I was really happy. I'd cheer for them.
With all talks done and all formalities completed, it's now time for action. And for sure, these tiny tots will be cheering for their home nation, but also add some lung power for the Maoris. Rohit Deo, FBC Sports.
Meanwhile, the organizers say the pre-match ticket sales for tomorrow's game is going well. Ticket Direct, a New Zealand-based ticketing service provider who is working alongside the Fiji Sports Council, says the response from the public has been good.
It's been a great experience working with Fiji Sports Council and Fiji Rugby Union to bring this game together. The New Zealand Rugby Union bringing the Maori All Blacks here, just an amazing opportunity for everybody to get out and support their team before the World Cup.
Ticket Direct has also hinted that future international teams visiting Fiji will also depend on tomorrow's turnout. The Vodafone Fiji Under-23 football side is through to the final of the Olympic Games qualifiers after beating PNG 3-1 in the semi-final. Suva striker Napoleon Ngasipakatini scored a hat-trick for the side in the win. They will play either Vanuatu or New Zealand in the final on Sunday. Looking at the medal tally, Team Fiji is in 5th position with 9 gold, 15 silver and 11 bronze medals. PNG still leads with 31 gold, 16 silver and 11 bronze. Tahiti has 15 gold, 13 silver and 11 bronze. Samoa has 14 gold and as many silver, while New Caledonia has 14 gold, 12 silver and 11 bronze medals. And that's it from sports this evening. It's back to Jackie now with business.
Potential foreign investors who plan to set up a business in Fiji can now deal directly with various Tier 1 agencies. Investment Fiji's new online single window clearance system for investment registration will enable this to take place. Prime Minister Vurenge Bainimarama says investors can deal directly with FIRCA, the Reserve Bank, Investment Fiji and the Registrar of Companies. The Tier 1 agencies get the necessary approvals.
Using the single window, you can now register and reserve a business name, obtain a tax identification number, approve a share issue, and obtain a foreign investment approval certificate with one electronic form and a single payment gateway.
It will now be easier to attract both foreign and local investors who have long complained about the complexity of the approval process. Cloud and showers were experienced over most places. Nandi and Suva recorded 15 millimeters of rain overnight to 9 a.m. today. A trough lies slow-moving over Vanuatu and extends to the south of Fiji. Meanwhile, an easterly wind flow prevails over most Southwest Pacific Island countries. In temperatures, maximum temperatures remained below 30. Suva managed 24, Nandi, Laoka and Ba hit 27, while Umbasa recorded 30. Occasional showers over the southern part of the group, the eastern parts and interior of the larger islands. Isolated heavy falls expected. Elsewhere fine apart from brief showers, cool at nights. And for further outlook, some showers over the southern part of the group, the eastern parts and interior of the larger islands. Fine apart from brief showers elsewhere, cool at night. And recapping the main stories. 16 villagers, including 3 chiefs from Rakiraki, have been charged for their alleged involvement in forming a breakaway state, namely the Ra Sovereignty Christian State. Government has launched the Fijian Trade Policy Framework in Suva, which has been described as a milestone in the country's development, and the hunt continues for an unknown person who raped a 9-year-old student in Nakasi Nausori early this week. To our poll segment for this week, we're asking, can Fiji win the 2015 Pacific Games? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. You've been watching FBC News. I'm Jackie Spate. Have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Bye for now.
घर संसार में आपका स्वागत है। आपका अपना छोटा सा स्वर, जहाँ प्यार भरे रिश्ते पलते हैं, जहाँ हेल्थी रहने की सलाह दी जाती है, जहाँ हम आपको और भी सुंदर बनाते हैं और जहाँ स्वाद की सौगात भी है। नमस्कार, मैं हूँ पल्लवी। सोमवार से शुक्रवार 9 से 12 तक रेडियो फिजी 2 देश की धड़कन पर घर संसार में शामिल रहिए मेरे साथ।
ऐसा सुंदर सपना अपना